3912 10th Avenue South, St. Petersburg, Florida, the neighborhood where I'm from. My city is known for murders and drug dealers. Growing up, had a lot of friends and family get murdered, had a lot of friends and family go to prison. Being a professional basketball player, giving back to my community, now I have a lot of friends and family who is getting out or out now. This is Mo Spakes, and you watching Time Served. What's up, what's up, what's up? This is Mo Spakes. Welcome back to Time Served. I'm here with my childhood friend, Marquis Lovett. I've been knowing him for 20 plus years. He's just getting out. What's good? What's going on?
I'm Marquis Lovett, R53533, Florida Department of Corrections. 2 attempted murders, possession of a firearm, 3 sales of marijuana, and a sales of cocaine.
How you feel, man?
I'm glad to be out. I'm home. You know, it's the second time, so you know it's kind of the same thing. You know, being home, having a fresh start again, but it's nothing like that feeling. You know, of getting out after being chained, after being locked down in a way like that. So I'm just glad to be home. You know what I'm saying?
Glad to have you home, bro. I miss you, bro. Yeah. So, like you said, this is your second time going to prison. You went to prison twice, right? As a juvenile and as an adult. So explain that. Explain how was you as a juvenile going in, and how was you as an adult going in?
Going in as a juvenile was really more like a learning experience. It was more of a trying to go see what the other side is based on. You know, you grow up with people telling you what not to do, but not necessarily showing you why not to do it. And I was one of those type of kids that you got to show me. So I had to go see. I had to go feel it. I had to go touch it. You know what I'm saying? And it costed me 6 years of my life. You know what I'm saying? Going in at 17, coming out at 23, it costed me. But the experience itself was, it wasn't as hard as my second bid, because I didn't have kids, you know, I didn't have the responsibilities that I went in with the second time. So the second time it really took a toll on me. It really set me down, and it put me in a spot where I had to come to the conclusion that it's time for a change, you know. And I mean, I'm taking steps toward it every day, but it's been an experience that I can only explain because I've been there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What prison and being around people with those different mentalities do to you, I know because I've been there. So, like I say, the first bid, it happened, I did it, I overcame it, I conquered it. It was more like a stripe for me, you know, getting a stripe on your shoulder saying I've been there and I've done that. But the second time, going with those kids, leaving those kids and leaving your family out there, it was more like you're a failure, you're a loser, you know, you as a father, as a brother, as a homeboy, because so many people are depending on you, so many people are counting on you. So the second time I took it kind of hard. It was kind of rough.
Yeah. So you like I said, you've been to prison twice. First year you did 6. First time you did 6 years. Second time you did 4.
4 years.
And I mean, you still under 30. You got a long life, bro. You got a long life, and you're on the path to do something that a lot of people probably think you will never do. You know what I mean? So talk about the crimes you did. Talk about how it went down, and talk about the process of going to jail for your first time you ever been.
When I was coming up, we had a block, you know, our block, where we was raised at. You know what I'm saying? 10th Avenue, 40th Street was our block. That was our throne. You know what I'm saying? And it was embedded in our heart, in my heart that way, because that's where we grew up at. And you know, having that type of perception of things led to the situation that put me in prison the first time, because I wanted to defend that. At that point, I was willing to defend that block with my life. So whenever I felt threatened, or me and my homeboy, the ones that was out there like that, felt threatened, we did what was necessary to let let it be known that this is ours. And you know, we had a dude who, you know, moved in, and that happened to be the case. You know, we was faced with the ultimatum whether we gonna let this newcomer come and claim our block as his, or we gonna defend it with our life. And that's what we did. You know, it was a couple altercations that we went through verbally at first with the dude, and then it was a couple more, you know, hands-on type of situations before it was actually shots fired, before it was actually guns drawn and people's lives put on the line. But it happened just like that. It went down just like that. You know what I'm saying? It was guns drawn, and it was people's lives put in danger because of ignorance. You know what I'm saying? Because of us not having an understanding of the bigger picture of life. And I can say that now because, like I say, I've been through it. I've done the time for it, and it's over. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing else to hide about the situation. It is what it is. You know, dude ended up testifying on us. You know, and we ended up going to prison.
How many was y'all?
It was me and 4 other co-defendants. My baby brother and 3 more our homeboys end up being charged with the crime, 2 attempted murders, and two of them went to trial and lost. And I was a YO, my little brother was a YO, so we ended up taking plea bargains for a YO sentence. But my other 2 homeboys ended up losing trial, and one was given 30 years and the other one was given 15 years. The other one ended up beating the case in trial, but he ended up being deported. Mm-hmm. So it's like I say, it's still scars. You know, it still leaves scars because, you know, when you did the time, it was a part of your life that you had to pay for this simple piece of understanding. And if I could do anything for anybody else, it's to tell them what I've been through, and hopefully that they won't make the same decisions in the future.
That's deep, man. That's deep. You got, your mind is so clear. Your mind is understanding. You know what I mean? People could really talk about what they want to do, but for you to be doing it in this platform we got right now is really big. So it's deep, man. I remember growing up, played Flowers, played Mine Life for St. Pete, one of the best players out there. See how big he is? Yeah, but but like I said, it's a testimony. So talk about, after you going through the process from juvenile to adult, it's different. It's totally different because you end up with juveniles and then you go up there with adults who's got life and been in there for 40 years, 50 years. Explain your time, what happened your second time going to prison, why you went to prison, and what happened to your first day in adult prison.
When I got out of prison the first time, I had to understand, I had to learn that when you go to prison for a crime, you get what's called points on your record. That's the system gives you, that's going to be used against you the next time it's time to sentence you for any crime. And the charges that I went to prison for, the points was so high that once I got out of prison, I could have been sent back to prison for jaywalking. Jeez. So what eventually ended up happening is, you know, the local police, they knew of us, they knew of me, same block, same neighborhood, it's the same thing, you know what I'm saying? And it was a well-known fact that we could send Marquis back to prison for any type of infraction, the lightest infraction. And that's what happened. They ended up charging me with 2 sales of marijuana and a sales of crack cocaine, and ended up giving me 4 years for it. So, you know, it wasn't nothing to negotiate. The points scored out in 4 years. That was the bottom of the guidelines. I went to court. The judge told me he did me a favor by giving me the bottom of the guideline. You came and testified for me. You know, you came and You was in my corner, you had my back, you know what I'm saying? And even that wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? That's how real the system is. That's how real it's gonna be for anybody who find themselves in the system. So, you know, I found myself going to prison for the second time for 4 years, and like I say, the experience was totally different. You know, my first prison bed, I went to what they call as a youth offender camp. You know what I'm saying? It's for YOs. It's for people that's under 24 years old. You know what I'm saying? They send you to a camp with people of that age group. You know what I'm saying? But the last couple of years, due to prison overpopulation, they've done away with it. They've done away with the youth offender camps. They still have them here and there, but they've done away with it. But this time, I wasn't a youth offender anyway, so I went to go do time with the big boys. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean big boys is, I ain't talking about big dudes because I'm a big dude and I can hold my own, but I'm talking about where you dealing with mentality of people that you couldn't imagine, you know what I'm saying, because of the situations that they're faced with. And I went to Graceville. They sent me to Graceville. It's a private institution up in Jackson County. It's a private institution up in Jackson County. And the first thing I realized when I got in the dorms, a 100-man dorm, is how many people had more than 30 years in them. And we talking about out of 100 people, more than 70 people had more than 30 years. So the environment itself is of a whole nother type of energy. These are people that don't see no future 5 years from now, 10 years from now. These are people that's saying, basically in so many words, I wouldn't mind dying. I wouldn't mind somebody taking me out of my misery. So when I got to prison the second time and I got up there at Graceville, I realized that this was a whole nother ball game. You know what I'm saying? I realized that this is a whole nother set of rules than being at the wild camp where the officers are always in the dorm with you. You know, you being protected because you're a child. The officers can't put their hands on you because, you know, you're a child. So, you know, it's a lot of rules and restrictions dealing with those YOs. But the second time, it wasn't anything like that. You know what I'm saying? The drugs was rampant. Everything was times 10 than it was in YO.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to get my mind right. You know what I'm saying? I had to adjust. I had to adapt. But it matured me, though. You know what I'm saying? It matured me. It pushed me to see life in a whole nother way. You know what I'm saying? Through a lens that's necessary for you to make the growth that you need to make to move on. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it did for me.
That's dope, man. It's great to hear those kind of stories, man, because somebody watching this video we're gonna impact their life, at least one person. So Spain, for like Florida, is different than West Coast, but with the gangs. But we still have gangs, but it's not as strong as the West Coast. You know what I mean? Because I was out there, I used to go visit different St. Quentins and all that kind of stuff. So explain from North Florida to South Florida prisons. What's the difference in that?
I think the only difference lies in the type of people you're dealing with. In North Florida, you got a lot of rural areas, you know what I'm saying? And those prisons are built out there in deep off in the boondocks, and you got officers and people that work at those prisons are from that town, you know what I'm saying? So it's ran like a cult, you know what I'm saying? What goes on inside that prison stays inside that prison. When you up north and you out there, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about people from the officers to the sergeants to the administrators to the nurses. They all family. They all know each other. So, you know, things get covered up from top to bottom. You know what I'm saying? And it just creates, you know, like I say, the same type of atmosphere for the inmates because the rules are different. You know what I'm saying? The rules are different. It ain't like put it to the media, or it ain't like they talk about it on the news. You know what I'm saying? The people that's put in authority will hurt you. The people that's set there to watch you will kill you. You know what I'm saying? Without a doubt about it. Done did it. You know what I'm saying? It's public information how many people done lost their lives up there to that type of brutality from officers and different stuff like that. But that's pretty much, you know, to put it bluntly, the atmosphere of those institutions up there. You know what I'm saying? Just God bless me and had me only do 8 months up there, so I kind of, you know, didn't really get to see the hard end of it. You know what I'm saying?
Compared to, like you said, that's compared to South. It's more laid back. Everybody.
That's right. Compared to South, you know, it's more laid back. It's more urban. You know what I'm saying? You got more people of color. You know what I'm saying? That's in these institutions. More people from the type of neighborhoods that we from that either got people in the system or know people in the system. So they got a little bit more sympathy for you. You know what I'm saying? They ain't trying to hurt nobody. You know, they trying to put in their little hours and get on up out of there, you know, and at the same time make it as easy as they can for you. So that's the difference, and it's a big difference based on how you trying to do your time and where your mentality is, what your circumstances is. You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of dudes who prefer to be up there, up north in those institutions, because the respect level, everybody is walking on pins and needles versus down south where everybody just hanging out and everybody talking any kind of way and this, that, and the third. So it comes down to what type of time you trying to be on, but the bars is set as far as these institutions is concerned.
So what was the time? What was the time you was in prison? It's like, nah, this shit is real. Was it some kind of event that you seen that somebody got killed? Somebody got? Explain what's the first time you was like, man, I'm in prison. Explain like the worst time you ever had.
When I was at Graceville, and like I said, I was up there for 8 months. I seen a situation go down, and dude ended up getting stabbed, and I had never seen this much blood in my life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm from the streets. You know what I'm saying? I'm from, you know, the heart of it, where it goes down at. And yet this was more blood than I ever seen in my whole life. So, you know, seeing that and seeing the vulnerability of a person, you know what I'm saying, when you in there and the only thing is protecting you from another man is your own will, the respect that you got from yourself, the control that you got over the words that come out of your mouth, and the control that you got over your actions. You know what I'm saying? The vulnerability that I witnessed that day made me realize that this ain't the place for me. You know what I'm saying? It showed me that no matter how strong you are, how big you are, how bad you think you are, at the end of the day, you flesh and blood. You know what I'm saying? You bleed just like anybody else. You know what I'm saying? And when your heart stops, it's over. You know what I'm saying? So that day was a turning point for me. That day, you know what I'm saying, resonated somewhere deep inside of me, that I realized that this wasn't for me. That I gotta make a change. You know what I'm saying? Not because I was scared or not because I thought it might happen to me, but for the simple fact that I got kids. Who want to go out like that? You know what I'm saying? I can understand if it's something that life deals you. You know what I'm saying? But these are situations that can be avoided if you just change your thinking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that was one of those situations right there that really, opened my eyes up. You know what I'm saying? Broadened my horizon as far as the changes I needed to make for myself.
That's dope, man. That's gotta be something you'll never forget. To see something like that goes on like that, but something you might never want to see again. You know what I mean? So let's talk about when the tough guys try to come in prison. By the old heads always praying on guys like, oh yeah, let's see what's up with them.
Oh, you know, it's just like the streets. You know what I'm saying? It's a dog eat a dog world. You know what I'm saying? It's every man survival of the fittest at all costs. You know what I'm saying? And that's no matter where you go, south or north. It's survival of the fittest, and you got real predators in there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we dealing with mentalities. You know what I'm saying? We dealing with mindsets of people that ain't never coming home. So how you gonna tell somebody that ain't never coming home what's not necessary for his survival? You know what I'm saying? Or how you gonna tell you know what I'm saying, somebody that ain't never coming home to ease up off this dude when this dude done disrespected him or something? You know what I'm saying? His respect is all he got at the end of the day. So when this dude mind is made up to handle business on whatever level it is, the best thing you can do is save yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like I say, it's predators. You know what I'm saying? And it's vultures, and you got people scheming, and you got homosexuals. You know what I'm saying? You got it's bad, man. You know what I'm saying? It's bad, and you know that's the saddest part about it is, you know what I'm saying? You see dudes out here that's, you know, that swear they living like that, or that they tough and you big and bad out here, you know what I'm saying? And I can look at them and know they don't stand a chance on the other side because they playing by different rules on the other side. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, the predator becomes prey on that side. You know what I'm saying? And that's a part that a lot of people don't understand unless you done been there, unless you done seen it. You know what I'm saying? The predator becomes prey on the other side. You was a predator on the streets, you become prey on the other side because it's bigger animals in there. You know what I'm saying? It's worse animals in there. So, you know, I just look at it like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta do the right thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Coming from where I just came from, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, being on the other side, it ain't where you want to be, and it ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't gonna make it.
Yeah. What's the difference with your patience, being in prison, being out to the free world? What you have to do to be more patient out here compared to somebody like in there? Somebody's try you, kind of like you're gonna think about it, but you kind of like gotta go because respect is a big thing. But out here, how do you manage your patience and like respect level?
Being on that side only increases you. It only helps you to build the endurance to have patience on this side. You know what I'm saying? And if you can find it on that side, in that type of environment, dealing with the codes and the conduct of that place, then it's really a cakewalk out here. You know what I'm saying? Because you free. You know what I'm saying? You can pull off when you want to get from around somebody, or you ain't got to answer your phone, or you can go take a walk on the beach. You know, when on that side, you stuck in a room and ain't nowhere to go. All the doors locked, so it's hard to relieve yourself of the aggression. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to make it out, then you find that patience. You know what I'm saying? You find the patience within yourself to say, hey, man, I'm trying to go home to my kids, man. I ain't trying to catch no life sentence on a 4-year bed, man. I ain't trying to get killed. I ain't trying to come out of here with one lung or with one eye or with, you know what I'm saying, with any of those type of things. I'm just here to serve my 4 years and get on. So, you know, when you motivated to make that accomplishment, you gonna find the patience within yourself, you know, and it's a line, you know what I'm saying? It's a line that can't be crossed, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, you realize that a lot of stuff is just the side effects of the atmosphere, you know what I'm saying, of being in a place of 100 men being caged in one room, you know what I'm saying? There's gonna be consequences to that type of arrangement. You feel what I'm saying? So I mean, when you can think on that level and when you can see it like that, it's easy to sidestep a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that's what I did. You know what I'm saying? Learn how to talk, you know what I'm saying? Develop my patience and learn how to articulate, you know what I'm saying? Certain things to certain people, and I gained the understanding for that. You know what I'm saying? Whether I had problems with this dude or whether this dude had problems with somebody I know, communication is the best thing. So once you can communicate, you know what I'm saying? Once you can have patience and stop yourself from getting angry, you can communicate at a decent enough level to get an understanding with people.
So that's big time information, man. Like you said, the biggest thing I heard from is communication. Communication is all kind of aspects of life which you really need to kind of like grow and help people with communication. Since you was locked up, what's something you was eating in there that you will not even look at out here?
I'm gonna have to say the tuna fish, because the chow hall food was already off limits for me. So I would make the soup, the noodle package, and the only meat I really dealt with was fish. So at this point, I done ate so much tuna fish, I don't want to see no more tuna fish, man. I'm done with the tuna fish.
What's the best meal you had in there, though?
The best meal gonna be the holiday meal they serve. You know, on 4th of July, you might get a leg quarter, you might get some baked beans, potato salad. You're gonna get a real 4th of July meal, and it's gonna be cooked to the extent of whatever institution you at and whatever your cook's hitting on, you know what I'm saying? But some of them institutions got some dudes that know what they doing.
Right.
But that was about the best one though, the holiday meal.
What about like a prison meal that not from the kitchen, the inmates just make on the block or in the cell, whatever?
My homeboy, I was doing some time with a couple dudes that used to make this tortilla, this nacho dip. I don't know what it's called, man. They have different names for it everywhere you go, but it basically was, you take a couple bags of Doritos and you lay them out, so you got your nachos. Then you take chili and beans, and they come in a pouch, so you rip them open, put the chili and beans over them, and you cut your pickle down. You put your pickle on it.
That's your jalapeno.
That's your jalapenos. You get a couple cheese squeezes. Put your couple cheese squeezes on there, and they had pepperoni bites. You know what I'm saying? That come in a pack by 20 of them. Used to be in a little pack. Chop them up real fine, and that was your meat. You know what I'm saying? And
what was that called? Nacho?
we called it nacho, man. I used to tell them just make the nachos, bro.
So, finish off with, get a camera something that's gonna save somebody's life. Somebody going down the road path, somebody's about to go to prison, just get a little small conclusion of something what you could think you could help just one person.
The best advice I could give you is to find yourself. Find yourself and make known who you want to be, what you want to do in life. If that's the way you want to go out, it's a free ride. But if that ain't the way you want to go out, if the things that I've discussed today ain't the things that you want to experience, change the way you think, change the way you move, change the decision and the choices you make. That's all I can tell you.
Thanks for watching. Time served with most Spakes. If you like the video, click subscribe, leave a comment. More videos coming.